Hey guys, Pitmaster here. I'm here to talk about UFC Dublin, and I'm going to give you two lessons, two takeaways for any martial artist to learn from UFC Dublin. It started off a pretty good card, and then the main event fell out, the semi-main fell out, and people started losing interest in it. Um, not too many big names out there, but it was a fantastic card. I mean, it was a great card. The fights were phenomenal. I was at home uh, because I was in bed already and I was gonna watch it, you know, on Sunday. But Saturday night I wanted to get it out of the way and watch it because I knew I wanted to talk about it during our podcast, Bushido Talk. Um, so I just thought I'd watch a fight or two before I went to sleep. So I started watching on my iPhone 5 in bed, just holding it. And the fights were so good, I watched the whole main card on my iPhone. And it was, it was a great card. And I'll tell you who else did a great job was Dan Hardy as the commentator. It was fantastic. He's a natural. But anyway, okay, here's the two lessons learned. Number one, in a combative sport, and that includes a fight, any martial arts fight, whether it's in the street, in the ring, in the cage. Unlike other sports, if you're really far behind in a water polo match and it's like 10-2 and there's like 3 minutes left, I mean, you give up. I mean, you're not supposed to, and you gotta look like you're swimming hard, but I mean, there's no chance, logistically, there's no chance you'll ever win. I mean, if it's a mile race and one guy's got 3 laps on you, or and he's like 100 yards from the finish line. I mean, come on, you're supposed to keep running fast and make like you're trying to win, but you give up. I mean, you give up. Same in soccer, Same in a football game. I mean, if it's like 30-0 and it's the last quarter with 5 minutes to go, I mean, you give up. You're not supposed to, but you do. So you don't do that in a combat sport because no matter how far you are behind, one punch can change the whole fight. You could be so far behind, it looks like you'll never even catch up. And one punch, and now you're the winner. One submission, guess what? You just won with 5 seconds to go. You can win with 5 seconds to go still. No other sport can you do that. And in the street, it's the same way. I mean, you always have a chance to win until the fight's over. Whether it's broken up or whether you've gone your separate ways, or in an MMA fight till the last bell rings. Then, and only then, can you give up. So, Nicholas Dalby, really good, undefeated fighter, fought Darren Till, a 22-year-old undefeated fighter. They were both so good, and they looked so evenly matched, but Darren Till beat him pretty badly in the first 2 rounds. I mean, it didn't look like there was ever any, chance of a knockout, or it wasn't just a beating, but he was beating him. I mean, he was just outpointing him pretty convincingly for 2 rounds straight. Going into the 3rd round, it looked like Darren Till was going to win. I mean, it was like a given. He was just going to win. And if it was any other sport where you'd have to play catch up, you'd think he can't win. But the last round, Nicholas just came on strong and caught him with a solid right hand, hurt him, and then from then on, Darren was on the defensive. It was, he took him down. Nicholas got him against the cage and beat on him, and he stopped him, and he was more aggressive. Darren did get in some straight lefts and make it somewhat competitive, but it was definitely a 10-8 round. So Darren, who was winning the first and second round, even after a round like that, people would have thought Darren won the fight. And I was hoping it was a draw because Nicholas won that 3rd round so big. And it was a draw. It was a great decision, which was a draw, and it just went to show it could have been so easy for Nicholas to just give up because he was losing the first and second round, and it just looks like he couldn't find a way to beat Darren. I mean, he's losing everything: the takedowns, the striking, the distance, everything was going to Darren, but he didn't give up. He did not give up, and he came out the third round, changed his strategy, got more aggressive, moved his head, got inside, and he eked out a draw, which is, it's not great, it's not a win, but it's a hell of a lot better than a loss. And he got fight of the night, mainly because of that last round. So he got an extra 50 grand. So lesson number 1 from UFC Dublin is never give up till the fight's over. Never give up. There's always a puncher's chance, a submitter's chance, a takedowner's chance. There's always a chance to win in a combative sport until the very last bell rings, or in a street fight until you're home. All right? All right. Now, let's talk about the other fight. This is a good fight. It was the semi-main, I think. Norman Parks against the Mad Dog, Madadi. Yeah, it was a semi-main, and they had a little bit of friction before the fight. I don't know why. I think they were just building up the fight. But my lesson number 2, MMA, unlike boxing, kickboxing, the clinch is such a different game. And the clinch is so important. There's so many fights won or lost in a clinch. Randy Couture used to win tons of fights in the clinch, and so do a lot of guys. And I feel like this fight came down to clinch work. I think Norman was much better striking. The takedowns were pretty much stuffed in the middle of the cage. But I think a lot of it had to do with the clinching. Because he was so well versed against the cage, the Mad Dog, Madadi, just couldn't do anything. And he couldn't get his takedowns, he couldn't get a good offense going because the clinch work was so good on Norman's part. But on the other side of that, Madadi was so good with the clinch as well. That was the most interesting part of the fight to me, because when they were in the middle of the cage, Norman was just winning. I mean, it was pretty much one-sided. He was stuffing his takedowns. He was beating him with the punches. He was moving more. He was sharper. But against the cage, to me, that could have won or lost it. And if he wasn't so skilled against the cage, I think Madadi would have been able to beat him because of his superior clinching. But like I said, since Norman's was so good, it saved him. And clinch work can win or lose a fight for you. And in MMA, the Thai clinch can win a fight for you in Muay Thai, but it's just not as big of a factor. Clinch work is so important in MMA. And in the street, if somebody gets you up against a wall, I mean, it could be the matter, the difference between winning or losing if you learn some basics against a clinch. How to avoid the takedown, how to get in good position so you don't get hurt, how to protect yourself against the clinch, your head positioning, and then how you can also attack from the clinch. So clinch work is very important. And that is my second and last lesson from UFC Dublin. Work on your clinch work, work on your cage work against the wall, and master that skill, because it's a subtle one and it doesn't look like, it's not like a big overhand punch or a slam or a crazy submission. It's a subtle little thing, but it can mean the difference between winning and losing in an MMA match, and a lot of times it does. So those are my 2 lessons for UFC Dublin. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being part of the Pit. If you have any questions, any comments, please comment below. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, please comment below and ask me, and I will make a video just for you. Thanks for coming, guys.